I come to this podcast today with a lot of humility and with a lot of love. I don't pretend that I understand 100% of the subject that I will be discussing to you today. I don't pretend that you will be able to understand all the mechanics of it also. But hey, really? I don't care. I don't know if the old wise archetype it is achieving a priority status in my psyche. Give me just a second. I don't know if that is happening, but now I am realizing that you don't need to understand stuff in order to be stuff. This is a very important thing that you need to understand paradoxically. You don't always need to understand everything in order to be everything. So today I will not focus on understanding and teaching. I will be focusing more on the experience and on what this can mean for your life. Because what I will be teaching to you today is one of those truths or potential truths that you can actualize in your life that, at least for me, it changed my life. It changes forever, even when I don't understand it, and even when it's an enigma, a mysterious thing, a mystical thing. It just changes it, and that's it. And I am just very excited to see what can do for your life if you really open your heart, open your mind, and let the organizing principle organize the rest. The rest of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most transformative podcast in the world, the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2 with your host, Dr. Derek Israel, and this is the episode 547. All right. And this is a podcast that we are doing every Monday through Friday, approximately at 4 a.m. MST. Sometimes I come later than that, but every morning I am doing it. So join us if you want to know more imperative information for your self-actualization, self-development, and self-expansion. That is exactly what we are doing in this podcast. Also, I just want to remind you before we begin today's podcast that very, very soon, now, folks, is very serious, and now is very soon. I am publishing my first book, Terapia con Derek, Therapy with Derek, first in Spanish, then the English version. And this is happening in the next few weeks. So this is a work that I have been developing for the last 6 years. Everyone is expecting this book, at least everyone that is a fan or a student of mine. So as soon I announce the book, grab your copy. I don't want you to miss out that first launch. All right. That is very important. You will grow a lot with that book. I put my soul in that first book. So today, I will explain to you a little bit of how this can work in your life. Not exactly how it works, but how can work. This idea that we can call the organizing principle. The organizing principle. And let me tell you a little bit how I encountered this idea, a little bit of the story behind it. When I was like and I need to apologize, guys. My family is suffering from a demon that is called daycare. My daughter go to daycare like in the morning, Monday to Friday, and those kids have some viruses and bacterias, those toddlers, that my system and my wife's system, we are not prepared for those demons of bacteria. And we are always sick now. I was a guy that I was never sick, but now I'm always fighting a bacteria or a virus, and I'm always like kind of a, every day mostly. It's kind of crazy that biological, microbiological war that my daughter is bringing to my house. She's always sick. She's always sick, and every boy and daughter or every boy and girl in that daycare, they are all sick. They are all little beasts, little creatures running, with a lot of mucus in their faces and coughing in each other's faces. And she bring that up to my house every day. And I now struggle with my voice sometimes. So I apologize because I will be trying to clear my voice sometimes during this podcast. And that is not the most that is not the most pleasing thing to hear in a podcast. You don't want to hear that. You want us to have that locutor or perfect voice of radio man. Sorry guys, this is a podcast, this is not a radio station. I was in third year. I was in third year of my doctoral program in psychology, clinical psychology, and I opened this book about my favorite author of all time. And if you have been following my content, you know that that is Friedrich Nietzsche. He's a philosopher. He's one of the greatest philosophers of all time, and I believe he's the greatest mind of all time. But that is just a personal opinion. You don't need to agree with that statement. And I opened a book that he launched before he went. Some people said nuts. Some people said that he became he became what he preached. He became like someone that he was so transcendental in his mind that he basically disappeared from the world. The last years of Friedrich Nietzsche, he was in bed, almost like a vegetable, like in a very dysfunctional state. Almost like insane, maybe insane. So before he went that road, he wrote this book that is called Eco Como, and it's the last book that he wrote. Later, after his death, his family, his sister, published a couple of books on his part, but that was the last book that he published, I think, himself, like with a little bit of awareness and consciousness, right? So in that book, he presents this idea about the organizing principle that as soon as I heard or read that idea, I knew that my life was about to change. And now that was like 4 years ago. And I just keep thinking about it. And I just see how truth it is in my life. Although I don't know exactly all the details. And the idea is just this simple idea. It's a simple idea. Is that everything that happens in your life, everything that happens in your life, it is like an organizing element for something better or for something that will emerge finally after all the pieces are together, after all the organizational pieces comes together in a beautiful form. And that is just the idea. It is an idea, I think, about faith. It is an idea, I think, about virtue, about surrender, about losing control, about losing and eliminating the sense of control. And it's an idea about trust. It's an idea about trust. Because what we are saying is that everything that is happening in your life right now, even the small thing, the smallest things, they are organizational, or it is not organizational, organizative principles. They are organizative elements. They have a structure of organization, not only in their structure, but also in their function. All right. Remember, structure and function is different, right? The structure of a thing is how a thing it is composed. The function of a thing is for what is the purpose of the thing, what the thing do, you know? So everything that happened in your life, it is organized in a function that is greater than your understanding. But you need to trust the idea in order for the idea to actually work miracles in your life. And you may say, oh, Derek, this is so unscientific. This is based, you are selling faith, basically. Yes, I'm selling faith. I'm selling faith. What else are we going to do here, folks? We live so many bad things in our life, so many suffering, so many failures, so many rough circumstances. What else are we going to do? We are going to just be pessimistic and nihilistic in reality, or are we going to develop some kind of protective system in our psyche, in our soul, that basically help us to keep moving forward, although your life will suck at times? Because your life will suck at times. Life, it is not pink. Personal development, it is not just a la la la. This is not a beautiful dance only. Yes, it's a beautiful dance, but it's a dance that sometimes you're gonna get crushed. And I want you to just bring to your mind everything in your life right now, everything in your life that is not working well. What are those things for you? Just bring it to mind. Because there is a lot in your life right now that is not working well. It is not optimal, and that is perfect. I want you to understand this, my friend. Today I will not yell at you. Today this is not about, you will not get coached typically like I will do mostly. Today I just want you to understand this deep truth, and that is that everything that is going bad in your life right now, today, it is just perfect as it is. It's just perfect. It is organizing itself to something greater, and you don't know. This is the beautiful thing. We don't know for what every circumstance is organizing for. We think we know, and we may develop some models in order to try to control, because what the ego wants to do, to control. The ego wants to control because that gives you a sense of security. And if you have a sense of security, at least you have a chance of survival. At least your ego thinks that. And remember, Everything that your ego wants is to survive, to expand his his ego genetics in a metaphor, in a metaphorical sense. And I have an episode that I called Demons of the Ego, that was last week. And in that episode, please search that on YouTube or my Spotify station. In that episode, I taught you that, everything that your ego do is for survival. And you will understand in that episode every dynamic of your ego. Some of them are bad, some of them are good. But we can create models. For example, when I say to you life purpose, you need to follow your life purpose. You need to enroll in my life purpose course, right? I told you that. What is that? That is a model. That is a theory. That is a construction of ideas that we try to establish and build in our life in order to feel a better sense of control, a better sense of mastery over life circumstances, because we are human and we don't like to feel little. We like to feel in control. We are self-important. We are so self-important. And the reality is, folks, that we don't know. It's like we are in a bus and we are not driving the bus. Do you understand this? The bus is basically the vehicle of your life. And you are sitting there in that bus and you are meditating in the bus. And you are saying, yes, I am the law of attraction. So I know that I create my reality. And you can create stuff in the bus, but the final ending of the bus, the final destination, when the bus stopped and said, tung, tung, please, passenger, get out of the fucking bus. When that day comes, you don't know where the bus stopped. You may attract some stuff, you may create realities. Yes, you have magical power. We all have. We all have creative, constructive, mystical power in our being. But that power is also with entropy and with chaos and with unpredictability and with uncertainty and with an element of non control. And why you will want to control everything? If you want to control everything, you are not living. You are just controlling. I will repeat this. If you want to control everything, you are not living. You are just controlling. And life, it is not about control, folks. Life is about freedom. And what is freedom? Well, a good definition of freedom is happiness. And what is happiness? Well, a good definition of happiness is to be okay with what is. To be okay with what is. So the organizing principle demands surrenderness, demands that you surrender to the wisdom of life, to the infinite intelligence that is smarter than you. This is faith. And it demands that you open your soul to the fact that everything will happen, because at the end it will make everything will make sense. Everything will make sense. But until that point, everything will be just chaos. Everything will be just chaos. But the most important thing that you should do with the organizing principle, the thing that is organizing everything in your life into a more meaningful effect, into a more supra meaningful result, Well, that will work only with faith and only with trust. Now, let me tell you some of different areas in which this organizing principle will work miracles in your life. And you may not even know it sometimes. And with this information, I assure you that you will be more relaxed in your life. This is the purpose, all right? This is the truth that we want to actualize. Today, we want to be a little bit more in peace, a little bit more with equanimity. That is a word that you should be adding to your vocabulary. I will do a podcast about that in the future. Equanimity. That is basically a detachment, a divine detachment based on love that you can impose in your consciousness. And remember, consciousness is the whole reality. So when your consciousness is relaxed, the whole reality is relaxed. Now, that doesn't mean that will not be chaotic, but even chaos can be relaxing. And if you have been developing or acquiring flow states, those states in which you are all powerful, all flowing, creative, and everything is perfect, everything is flowing, what we can call flow states. You know that sometimes in flow states, everything around you is chaos, but you are just perfectly relaxed. One of my favorite fighters in the UFC, I don't know exactly, his name is like Kosmat, or he's a Russian Muslim fighter that he's a promise to the UFC. And one of the things that I admire about that guy is that, let me just search his name. Cat Cat what? Kamsat. That is the name. Kamsat. It's a very difficult name for me. It's a Russian name. But one of the things that I admire about this guy the most is that he throw the punch completely relaxed. That is the weirdest thing. And if he gets you with one punch, you are out, man. He's a very strong man. He's a very dangerous man. But if you are gonna throw a punch like yourself, you're gonna like force it, like you want to hit hard, right? That is just common sense. But that guy, he's a professional in throwing punches. So that guy, he throw the punches like very relaxed, almost without force. And that is the power behind the punch. The power, the power is that the punch do not need force to have power. The punch do not need force to have power. So that guy, he can be in chaos and he can be relaxed and he can win over chaos. Another example about this is when I used to play Call of Duty a lot. I was one of the best players in Puerto Rico. I used to, sometimes it was all chaos in the game. Bombs, grenades, helicopters, bodies all around, my friends saying, oh, they're right there killing us, blah, 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 blah. Everyone talking to each other. But when I was in flow, when I was on my peak, when I was on my game, I was completely relaxed, independently of what was happening in the game. I was completely relaxed. So that is the importance of understanding this truth, because you will become more relaxed even in chaos. And this is very important. So one area in which your organizing principle will be working is in your life purpose, in this model that we can call life purpose, in which everything that happens to you will make you more fit to, in the end of the day, accomplish or to be your life purpose. I want you to bring to your mind all the failures that you have in your life, all the failures, the biggest failures that you had. And I just want to, I just want you to notice how those failures made you who you are today. They taught you something. They brought a treasure with them. You know, when you slash the dragon, you don't only have a new pet, you also have a treasure, because the dragon is always the treasure saver, is the treasure guardian. Do you understand this? So every failure that you have is like a gem for you. It's like a treasure, it's like gold, because something will emerge from that failure. Something will emerge. And that failure is organizing itself in order to be an essential element of your life purpose at the end. And you may say, how that can be? Well, I don't know. Life works in mysterious ways. I really don't know. Is this not the beauty of life, that we don't know? And the wise man archetype is the one that is conscious about that he doesn't know shit. And we're going to discuss that archetype, I think, Thursday this week. The wise man archetype. The wise man archetype, it is not the one that knows everything. The wise man archetype, it is the one that knows that he doesn't need to know everything in order to live and to be happy. And he's perfectly okay with that. So everything that is happening to you right now, good things, bad things, neutral things, I don't care. Every element, every dimension, every circumstance, understand, my friend, it is organizing itself. They are organizing themselves to greater things, and you don't know them. And it's perfectly okay that you don't know them. Stop trying to control. Stop trying to understand everything. You are not smarter than life. You are not smarter than the multiverse. You are not smarter than God. Learn how to let go. Learn how to let go. Everything will work at the end. The organizing principle is also working in your business. In your business. Every mistake that you do in your business is also organizing itself to a greater form. If you are an entrepreneur, you know how many mistakes we do every day. There is no a manual of how you can become a successful entrepreneur. Yes, we have tips, we have courses, we have books that we can study, but those are just weapons for your weaponry, for your arsenal. But those are not, you know, um, they are not things that will happen. They are not miracles. They are just possibilities. So what you need to understand about business is that it is not about becoming an entrepreneur or a businessman or woman. It is not about this. If you want to understand how really the organizing principle works in business, it's more about you want to become a serial entrepreneur. This is where actually the organizing principle get very juicy in the business dimension. Because when you become a serial entrepreneur, that means, you know, serial killers. When you're dealing with a serial killer, you are dealing with a guy or a woman that is killing people periodically, right? Sadly. They are not conforming with one victim. They are going one after the other. Well, a serial entrepreneur is the same. He's not killing people, hopefully. He is doing businesses periodically. He just don't do one business. He do the first business, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, then the fifth, and he stay like that in his whole career. Now, if you are smart serial businessman or serial entrepreneur, you need to understand that every business that you create need to be interconnected with the other ones in a way. All right, they doesn't have to be in the same industry, they doesn't have to have the same business model, right? They can be different brands, different industries, but in a way they must be related. I will give you an example of my own. Everything that I am doing is related. Every business that I am launching. Although I only have one business right now, that business is a couple of business inside one business. So I have Derek Israel Enterprises, and inside that business, I have the courses, I have the books, I have the consulting, I have the coaching, I have the psychotherapy that is coming very soon. All right. And I will add sexual coaching that I will get certified very soon. So I will keep expanding the services, right? But I am developing other businesses that are outside of my corporation that will be interconnected with them. Now, the real beautiful thing here is that everything that I do in one element of my business, in one dimension, will organize itself to impact every other dimension of the business, of the interconnected businesses that I also have. And that is the organizing principle. So let's say that you have three businesses. You are running a restaurant, you are running a social media agency, and you are running also, let's say, a real estate business. So you are always working with your social media agency inside the restaurant, and also people that wants to buy your houses or your land in the real estate, they come to the restaurant to discuss the business. So in a way you are kind of joining every business together in a system. But let's say that you one day was in your restaurant and a customer didn't like the food and he left and he didn't pay. So you may say, oh, that is a bad thing, right? That is a sad thing. And that is just something that I must fix in the restaurant because it was a product of my restaurant. No, 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 no. That situation also can organize things for your real estate business and can also organize things for your social media agency if you understand how everything is infinitely interconnected and how everything is infinitely self-similar. And in every dimension of a system, you can find infinite truth and you can apply that infinite truth to other dimensions of existence as well. That is the organizing principle. So maybe that customer that left without paying, he's teaching you. He's organizing your commercial knowledge to understand that you cannot serve crappy food. You cannot sell crappy land or land with crappy prices. Or you cannot sell crappy social media services. Or maybe it was not that the food was crappy. Maybe it was that he was a difficult client. He was a client that maybe he had some mental health issues and he just exploded without any reason and he did that. Well, that is also organizing something for you if you learn how to see. He's teaching you that clients like that, they are everywhere. Not only in the restaurant business, they will be your clients also in your real estate business. And they will be your clients also in your social media businesses. You know, and if you can organize that situation and learn from it and use that local circumstance in a global way, then you are organizing much greater in your life, not only in business, but in your life. Everything that happened in your business will affect the ultimate result that you will be forced to accept at the end. And this is also a liberating truth. There will be a moment in your life that you will be forced to accept your life. Maybe right now you're a young, strong woman or man or trans woman or trans man or whatever, or a cyborg. And now, maybe today you think, I will never conform. I will never accept my life. I will always push forward. I will always keep growing. And that is good. That is an excellent mindset. That is a personal development mindset. But guess what? There will be a day in which that mindset, it will not work anymore. There is there will be one day in which you need to look at your life and you need to say, all right, this is it. This is it. This is what I done. This is my final masterpiece and I'm done. And that doesn't mean that you will not try to keep moving forward, but at least you will not try too hard to control things and you will at least finally accept your destiny. Most depression, most sadness, most negative emotions are produced because we are running away from our destiny. And how we can merge with our destiny, we need to accept our destiny. Just notice in the movies, in the books, in the stories for children, every time that the hero is running from his destiny, he's gonna get smashed. The hero cannot run from his destiny. That's why it is called destiny. He's destined to do it. And if you run from it, you will suffer badly. Another area in which the organizing principle will work is in your spirituality, man. And that is huge. This is a huge one. I have been noticing this one for for a long time now. Like, I was a little bit scared in one point of my life. Not as scared, but maybe a little bit preoccupied because I was born and I was raised in a Catholic house or home. And I went far away from it. Um, when I was a when I was an adolescent, I remember that I was starting to contemplate to become an atheist. Um, but that never proceeded too much. Like I always believe in God, but I was sure that the Catholic God, it was not the only thing that is. Like I was sure that yes, that was some piece of the truth, but I was missing something. So I said, okay, so maybe he doesn't exist. But that thought, it didn't penetrate too much my consciousness. So what I did then when I was a little bit older in the university, maybe when I was 19 years old or maybe 20, I start exploring Buddhism. I start exploring Hinduism. I start exploring Muslim religions. I start exploring alchemy, magic, meditations, um, Gnosticism, and a lot of different type of religious and spiritual systems. And I remember that I was thinking, is this gonna make sense at the end? Or I just gonna be lost like in a very, very bad trip of spirituality and I will never come back? Like, because I am exploring this and I am reading at the same time the Quran and the Buddhist books, and I am reading the Bible at the same time. What I'm doing here, I didn't understand in that moment of my life what I was doing. Now I'm a little bit older with a little bit of more wisdom. And I now understand that I was doing exactly what was right for me to do in that moment, because there is an organizing principle that now organize everything that I learned, every spiritual experience, and now I have a more sophisticated spiritual consciousness that I can transmit to you. If it was not for those moments in my life that I was exploring with legion of things, of exploring multitude of spiritual beliefs, maybe today I will not be the same Dr. Derek Israel, and I will not be speaking this type of potent truths. So be relaxed. If tomorrow you stop believing in God, that is also part of the organizing principle. Be relaxed if tomorrow you feel angry at God and you fight with God, because that is also part of your organizing principle. Be relaxed if tomorrow you feel an urge of exploring, I don't know, Santeria in Puerto Rico. That is, I don't know how to say that in Spanish. Santeria is basically like a religion that believe in how I don't know too much about it. But basically they work with saints. They work with saints. Or maybe you want to explore Wicca, magic, create some spells. Well, go and do it, because that is also part of your organizing principle. No one can tell you how your road will look like. No one can give you the definitive map of your life, of your spiritual progress. Derek Israel, I am just only one guide of many that you will have. And none of your guides will know a hell of your journey. We are almost kind of knowing of our own journey. We are almost trying to decipher what the hell it is our own journey. How the hell we are gonna know yours? We will not know. The only one that can discover your own spiritual truth is yourself. No one else can give you that answer for you. No one else. No book, no movie, no documentary, no podcast, no religion, no technique. This is something that you must actualize for yourself. So trust your process. Everything is organizing mysteriously into a beautiful whole. Trust your process. Another area in which the organizing principle comes very handy is in your romantic relationships. Every romantic relationship that failed in your life, it is organizing itself for better things. Hey, I was not the best guy in the world to be with. And if you was a girlfriend of mine, maybe you can say, oh yes, Derek, you was a stupid head of lizard. Head of lizard. That was weird. I made so many mistakes with women in the past. I was unfaithful with them. I was sometimes um, detached, sometimes overly attached. Sometimes I didn't help in the house. Sometimes I was drinking too much, smoking too much. Sometimes I was not supportive enough. Sometimes I was just overly focused on myself. Yes, I had a lot of crazy things in my relationships, and I failed so many relationships before being with my wife. And I am not perfect with her now. I have so many shadows still. I have so many demons still, but I know that they are organizing for better because every mistake that I did with each one of those women, now I am bringing those wisdom to my wife, and I am building the treasure that I am giving to my wife based on those failures, because those failures organize themselves in a new wisdom for me, that yes, I am not perfect, but I am better than yesterday. I'm a better boyfriend, I'm a better sex partner, I'm a better husband, and a better father. I'm a better man. So it's not about forgetting. It's about let go the regret of the things that you have done in your past about your relationships, because they are organizing themselves for a new relationship, for a new and a better relationship. And everything that happened in your current relationship will serve you better for the next one, or for the same relationship but in the future, because relationships are dynamics, and always you will change in relation to your partner, and your partner will change in relation to you. And everything is organizing beautifully in your eyes. Sometimes it's painful, but it's beautiful. Pain and beauty are not mutually exclusive. They can coexist. They can coexist. For example, when you are in the gym, sometimes you are doing very hard stuff in the gym, and it's painful, but it's beautiful at the same time, right? Beauty and pain can go together. Also, another part in which your organiz, you know, or, um, organizative principle can have an effect is in your art. And this is a huge one that I want you to understand. In your heart, in your art. Why? Because art is all about organizative principles. Back in the day when I was a more immature writer, I wanted to know exactly everything that I was about to write before I write it. I was so immature. That is not how you do art. That is not how you do a masterpiece, a magnum opus. If you listen to that episode, go watch that in YouTube. Magnum opus, basically that means how to create your own artistic masterpiece. But when you are trying to do a great art, you need to understand you will not know how that art will organize itself. It will do it by itself. Right now, I just finished a book like a couple of months back, before, like a couple of months how can I say this? Ago, a couple of months ago, I was writing a novel. I started that in, I think, in 2021, in the beginning. I start this new novel, and the real good thing about it, and what I learned about it, is that I didn't know exactly what I was writing about. I was the author, I am the author, but I didn't know what the hell was the novel about. I just write it, and I just let the process be, because I knew in my mind that some organizing principle was making an effect on it, and everything at the end will make sense. And I spent a whole year writing that novel without understanding shit about it, literally. And I finished that novel like 3 months ago, or maybe 2 months ago, and I look at it and I said, oh my gosh, wow, how the hell is this built? How I did it? I did nothing. I just trust the process. I just trust the process. And my unconscious, or God, or the universe, or the organizational principle did the rest. And now there is a novel that is full complete, and I need to edit now the novel, and to publish that book very soon, maybe like in a year. I think that that book may release. So yeah, in your art, everything is organizing. Stop the control. Stop the manipulation. Trust the process. Your art is smarter than you. Your art is smarter than you. Trust the process. Also, everything that happens to you is organizing for more integrity in your life. I have a new video on my YouTube channel that I strongly recommend you to see. It is called My Reflection on My 28 Years. My Reflection on My 28 Years. Integrity, priority number one. That is the whole title. Integrity, priority number one. Reflections on my 28 years. And yes, that video is about integrity, because for me, this is the ultimate goal of our existence, to become integrous. And everything that is happening in your life, it is organizing itself for you to become more whole, more complete. Even when you suffer something that can be perceived as a division or a split, it is pushing for integrity. So let's say that you suffer, and let's say that you broke your shoulder, and you need to get surgery, and you said, Derek, that is not integrity. I broke my shoulder. I divided my shoulder for the rest of my body. That is not integrity. That is division. That is fragmentation. How that can organize itself mystically and metaphysically, for me to become more whole, more integrous, as you say. I broke my shoulder. Yes, that's why you will become more integrous, because you broke your shoulder. Because now you have an awareness that you have a thing here that is called shoulder, and that you need to treat that shoulder with love and with compassion and with care. And you cannot be fooling around with your shoulder anymore. You need to take care of your shoulder. And now you will have a better relationship with your shoulder. You will have a more healthy relationship with your children, and you will love your children. And when you love your children, you are whole. Now your children is yourself. Before you just has a child. Before that, you just had a shoulder. Now you have a wholeness. A wholeness. And that is just an example of a physical part. But fragmentation can happen emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, physically, socially. Every fragmentation that you suffer, every division, maybe some group reject you, maybe you suffer that the company that you work for, they fired you. Every time that you suffer a fragmentation, that is a call for integrity. And if you want to know more about integrity, please listen to my episode called Ultimate Integrity. Ultimate Integrity. That episode will change your whole life. And finally, I just want to mention, and I think that this is kind of obvious, that everything that happens to you is organizing itself for your personal development. And this is like the overview of everything that I discussed, because integrity is personal development. Spirituality is personal development. Your art is part of your personal development. Everything that I have been discussing here, relationships, failures, life purpose, everything is at the end of the day, a realm of your universal personal development. So everything that is happening to you, folk, it is organizing itself for more personal development on your part, for more expansion, and you need to become patient, because the process is slow but never stop. The problem is not the process. The problem is that you are so impatient with the process. We need to learn how to be more patient. That is also part of the old wise archetype that I will be discussing this week. So stay tuned. I think that is Thursday. In my social media, I uploaded the schedule for this week. So make sure that um, you know, make sure that you go to my social media and stay tuned. Also in my Telegram group, that is a free group that I have for the people that are watching this podcast. Seriously, a lot of people watch it and not a lot of people join the group. That group is more for people that want to go deeper in this work. So also in that group, I send the schedule, and that group, I give them the schedule ahead in a month for them to be prepared. So if you want to join, go to the link below. So a couple of things that I want to mention before I wrap this up is that remember that you need to, in order to promote the organizational principle, the organizative or the organizing principle in your life, in order to synergize this principle that is not depending on you. Remember, this is something out of your control, but you can add a little bit of force and power to it by eliminating the sense of control, basically leaving your ego out of your own way, being optimistic, because sometimes this organizational principle will bring shit to your life and you need to stay optimistic. Although also you need to focus on long term and in the big picture. This organizing principle, it is not worried about local stuff. It is worried about global stuff. Big picture. 40, 50, 60 years from now. You are thinking for tomorrow. You are thinking for the next hour. Stop doing that. Think about the next 50 years of your life. How this organizing principle will work for the next 50 years of your life. Think about that. That's huge. That's powerful. That is context. That is context. Also, don't try to understand how it works or the mechanism. Even Nietzsche just mentioned it in the book, and he didn't say exactly how the hell it works. I don't think that we need to know. It's exactly with the nature of God, exactly at the nature of reality. And you may say, oh, Derek, what? Are you saying that you have 547 episodes about the nature and the metaphysics of reality, about God and about how everything works, and you are saying to me that I don't should try to understand? That is so hypocrite from your part. Yes, I know. But now I am understanding that all of these episodes are just distractions. All of these episodes are just distractions, not only for me, but for you. That doesn't mean that they are not important, but also this means that they are not the most important thing that you should do. Yes, go watch the content, study, but remember that the most important thing is to let go and to live the experience spiritually without any mental model that is corrupting the direct experience of the thing. And at the end of the day, most of my stuff are mental models that I do in an art form in this podcast. And the final tip is that you should, if you want this to work, you should completely surrender. Completely surrender to what is. Remember, there is a moment in your life in when the boss of life will stop, and you will be forced to get out of the bus and look around your life, and you will not know how the hell you end there with all your failures, with your all your setbacks, with all your sicknesses, with all your successes, with all your money, all your sex, all your art, all your fame, all your reputation, all your family problems, or your relationship problems, or your sexual experiences, you will go there and you will say, holy guacamole, what the hell is this? And more important than that is that you will say, I accept this completely. And that is the ultimate organizing principle. This was your Dr. Derek Israel. If you made it this far, please leave a comment below. Share your thoughts, how you think this work, or how do you think the organizing principle is working on your life. Please share that with the community. We will be reading and also giving a little bit, giving a little bit of responses back to you. Share this with a friend, share this in your social media. That help to spread the message. Also remember that you can support this free content on Patreon. And basically that is a platform that you can receive exclusive content for just donating $5 per month. 5 little dollars per month. And by doing that, you help us to become and to stay self-sustainable. So check that link in the description also below. Remember to join our Telegram group if you are enjoying this podcast. And also remember that I'm going to be launching my new book, my first book, Terapia con Derek, Therapy with Derek, very, very soon. Grab your copy as soon as I announce. And remember that you can check everything that I have on store, the coaching, the consulting, the psychotherapy pretty soon, the courses and the podcast, everything that I am creating with this movement. You can check it on derekisrael.com. Give us a visit and stay growing as hell because everything will organize.